What's up, podcasters? Welcome to Beyond Your Podcast with myself, Norbert St. James. So, for those of you guys that don't know me, I am the managing director / creative director of Media Lab. Media Lab is a multimedia production company. We envision a world where storytelling transcends beyond boundaries. So we are a content-driven company. We offer various services such as creative development, video production, animation, photography, as well as post-production. And we have recently discovered our niche, which is podcasting. Hence the name of this show, Beyond a Podcast. On this show, you will learn about what you need to set up your own podcast. I'm talking about microphones, cameras, lighting, and beyond that. On this particular video, I will be sharing with you guys some of the equipment that we use here at Media Lab to produce some of our client work in terms of podcasts. Right? So we're currently shooting 3 podcasts. That's the Jump Podcast, Soundmind Podcast with unpack, and the Talking Cure. Let me first take you through our setup on the Jump Podcast. It's a 4-host show, and we use 4 Rode pod mics, right? We also use a Rodecaster Pro as our sound card. Sometimes the show is put together by just 2 hosts interviewing a guest. That's our audio. Coming to cameras, we use 3 cameras. Since the production is a low budget production, we only use 3 cameras, but there could be more. But when they have just 2 hosts and a guest, I think 3 camera setup is ideal. In terms of lighting, for this particular podcast, we do not use any lighting. We only use natural light because the podcast is shot in a restaurant. So there's light coming through large window of the restaurant, right? Sometimes we do night shoots. That's where we use our different lighting kits and soft boxes. Let's move to Soundmind Podcast with unpack. On this particular podcast, it's a 1-subject podcast, and we use 2 camera angles. The primary angle, which is our main angle, is a wide angle. Secondary angle is a close-up angle. So the close-up angle, we use that one when the subject or the host is in her thoughts, she's expressing emotions, stuff like that. In terms of lighting, we use MS300. Since this is a studio shot podcast, we get to play around with lighting, with different elements in producing podcast really. We use background lighting, just like the one I'm using for this particular video right now. And then we still use Rode pod mics, just one, as our main microphone. And we normally have, funny enough, the same mic that I'm using, but without the stand or the whatever. And we just take sellotape and then just put it here as our secondary microphone. So the importance of this secondary microphone is to work as a backup, or sometimes we use it to capture audio for our bloopers, for our BTS content and stuff like that. So it kind of like gives it a natural feel more than the Rode pod mic. And the third podcast that we shoot is the Talking Cure podcast. This is a 2 to 3 subject podcast. We still use our Rode pod mics on this one and the Rodecaster Pro or the Rodecaster Duo, depending how many subjects that we have. And it's a studio shot podcast as well. Those are my favorites because I get to like play around with light. We use background lighting as well for that one. we kind of like mix the blue one with the red one, and then we get a purple color. So the challenges of shooting this podcast. Number one, I'll go back to the Jump podcast. It's shot in a restaurant, so you're gonna need to do a lot of post-production in terms of audio. Number two, the natural light, sometimes it's cloudy, sometimes it's sunny, so you kind of like get different pictures while watching that podcast. I think that's pretty much the challenges of the Jump podcast. And then Soundmind podcast with Mpeng. It's shot in a beautiful studio. Shout out to TK Studios. But the disadvantage of shooting that particular podcast at that venue or at that studio is that there's a lot of glass windows. So we sometimes try to like cover that up with backdrop similar to the one that I'm currently using. But sometimes you would see that we get to like deal with a lot of shadows because of too much light coming in to the studio. I think that's pretty much it on Soundmind podcast. And the Talking Cure podcast, the studio is small. I think the one that I'm using right now is even better. So sometimes you get to like shoot 3 subjects in a smaller studio, and you get to like get those tight angles, which is something that we don't need, but I guess we use what we have to use. So this was an introduction video of what you need to start your own podcast, and I was just giving you an example of the type of podcast that we're dealing with as Media Lab. If you want us to help you with your podcast, simply email ask@medialabnetwork.com, or you can simply visit our website at www.medialabnetwork.com. Thank you so much for watching.